All right, guys, it's Terry here. Most of you know me as Super Cooper from chat. Just want to do a quick video, guys. I've only been doing this like 4 months now. It's coming up 4 months. So I just wanted to do a quick video about how I've been getting on and the sort of process that I've been going through. Maybe not. I'm not saying it's going to be the right way of doing it, but my results have been relatively good for the short time that I've been doing this. So I just thought I'd share with you how I've been going about it, and obviously if it can help any new traders or people just coming into the game, or people that just struggling in certain areas, then that's great. Do you know what I mean? And if anyone's got any questions about it, they can hit me up. Super Cooper in chat or Super Cooper 1081 on Twitter. Don't mind answering any questions. So yeah, that's all good. So as I say, I've been doing this coming up 4 months now. I've been a member of Trick Trades for 3 months. Started off with a bit of bullshit before that, but we won't talk about that. Penny stock shit. So up until I joined Trick Trades, I've never even placed a trade. Like literally never placed a trade. So I joined Trick Trades, and that was essentially the start of my trading career. So how did I go about it? The first thing I did was literally start watching the videos. Start watching the videos, guys. Before I'd even in the chat room and that for 3 weeks before, I just watched the videos. I went through, and I probably overdid it. I was watching so many of these a day and it's probably not the best way to go about it, guys. When you do start watching these videos, you want to pick 1 or 2 and go through them and watch the videos properly, digest the information properly, make notes on it, and watch them again. Make sure you really understand the concepts, because there's a lot of information in these videos, that Pat goes over, and it's a lot to digest. And if you're watching like 7 or 8 of these, sometimes on the weekend, I'll go crazy and just do 8 hours worth, 8 hours worth of video lessons and stuff. And you're not doing yourself no favors, guys, because you're not digesting all the information. So you're better off just picking, 1 or 2 videos, watch 1 or 2 a night or whatever, and really digest them and understand them. So I've done that for literally 3 weeks before, 2 to 3 weeks before, before I even place a trade. I see a lot of guys come in. Well, it seems that a lot of guys come in, and they really I don't know if they just think Trick Trades is just more of a chat room, but they don't really seem to digest none of this information. They come straight in and they want to just trade straight away. And I think that's the wrong way to go about it, man. You've got to understand, you've got to understand the system that Pat lays out for you, and you've got to understand the setups and this and that, and it's all there in these videos. You just got to utilise these guys before you jump straight in. Another brilliant part of the Trick Trades, website, with a ton of information, is the charts, man. Literally, Kelvo does a brilliant job of these, man. And if you're just starting out and you're not familiar with the plays, look at. It's all here, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people even know that these sections are here, or they don't utilise them enough, man. It seems crazy. So yeah, guys, just literally take advantage. This is one of the best collection of education that's out there, pretty much. So pay attention to it, and go through it and really utilise what's available on the website for you. That's what I did, as I say, for the first 2 or 3 weeks before I'd even got into a trade. While we're on the subject of education, another thing I would say as well, guys, is if you can do it, if you can afford it, if you've got a little bit of spare cash every week. I know, sometimes times are hard, but literally it pays for itself. Is mentoring, literally. I was a guidance member for the first month, and after literally the first week, I thought, right, as soon as my month's up, I'm going to switch to mentoring. It's a no-brainer, because literally, it's you can see just from the normal video lessons, these mentoring live classes, which are recorded every Thursday night, for those that don't know, with Pat, you can ask questions and that, and Pat goes really into depth about some. These have literally these have been like gold to me, man. The amount of stuff I've learned in these is just an absolute joke, because a lot of people who are in the room are going to be at the same stage that you're at. No matter how far you are in your trading, there's going to be other people in the room that's at the same stage as you. And sometimes it's really hard to word or think of how to word a question correctly that you want the answer to. But 9 times out of 10, someone else will ask a question you know, in the mentoring life class, and it directly applies to you as well. So you get like, I think the first one I watched, there was like 4 or 5 questions, which were almost felt like literally the whole class was directly related to me. That sort of, it was crazy. Like, an amount of information that Pat gives out in these is unbelievable. And this really, I mean, literally really just changed my whole outlook on trading. I can't recommend it highly enough, guys. Plus, not only that, you get access to Kelvo and Pat, you know, for one-on-one sessions. I've done a couple with Kelvo, you know, really sort of like go through your strategy, you know, and how you're progressing and that. And then I've done one with Pat just before I went live, you know, just to that sort of like little bit of confidence and have a good chat with Pat before. I'll tell you that helped me so much, man. So as I say, they're literally like mentoring guys is really where it's at. Can't recommend that highly enough. So that's the first couple of weeks down. You know, I was just watching the videos and just getting up to speed with the whole trick trades strategy, you know, and getting used to the setups and that. And as I say, and just utilise these guys. You know, you got your charts, you got, you know, Pat's trade recaps are amazing as well. There's a wealth of information there. Now I say, it really seems to me like not a lot of people utilise the website as much as they do. You know, everyone seems to be in the chat, but not a lot of people. Like, you know, some people don't really seem to be, you know, utilising the chat, the website as much as they could do, really. So that's just my opinion. I think guys just utilise that. It's one of the best education, you know, resources out there, guys, to make the most of it. So pretty much after that, after I watched, you know, and I was down with pretty much felt comfortable with the setups and what I was looking for. Now, I opened a paper account with TC2000. Don't really matter who you paper trade with, but I think literally if you're essentially like me, a new trader, as I say, I didn't place a trade. I hadn't placed a trade before up until I joined Trick Trade. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think paper trading is the next logical step. You know, I mean, you don't, in my personal opinion, you don't just want to dive in straight with an account. You know, you want to be you know, testing out your strategy and testing out what works for you. And find, you know, you're going to find, the more you trade, you're going to find setups and things that you're good at and things that you're not so good at, and you know, you're going to work out you know, what suits you. I mean, I found out quite early on that I was actually quite a short bias trader, which kind of surprised, you know, well, for one thing, you learn a lot about yourself in this game. And I really thought I'd be neutral, a pretty neutral bias as a trader, but I really much veered towards the short side for some reason. Not quite sure why, but I just feel more comfortable. I could see the short setups better. So yeah, so I noticed that, and you know, and obviously, you know, you want to pick a strategy or work out a strategy along the way, but that only comes from time, guys, and you're gonna find out as you go along what suits you better and what plays, you know, what setups and what overall general strategy, you know, does fit you better. So I paper traded for 2 months before I went live, and the first month was literally pretty much just getting to know the setups and learning the plays and that. But I started seeing my results getting gradually better and better and better. And you know, I'm pretty much at the moment, even live, I'm a pretty much break-even trader, which I think, I mean, it's a small sample size, but I mean, for 3 months I've been doing this now, coming up 4 months, you know, between never placing a trade and being relatively consistent, you know, I think is pretty decent in the time frame, you know. And I think if you supply yourself right, I think that's the whole thing, is just realizing that this is actually a process, you know. You've got to go through these phases, and your results are genuinely improved. So with regards to the paper trading, as I say, I journal everything, and that's key, guys. You really gotta, you know, you've got to be taking down notes of what you you know, what trades you're taking, this, that, the other. So essentially, I'll do a chart at the end of the day. You know, luckily enough with TC2000 paper trading, it plots your entries and exits for you. So, and then you can just add text. You know, you can just add text where, you know, wherever you want, like, you know, your entries and stuff, exits and that. You got your little arrows, what you can put in, you know, so you can put your little arrows here and sort of like put notes and that. So that's excellent for annotating your charts, you know, and I'll utilise that And even now I trade live, I still utilise that for my charting. Another thing, what I like to do, as I say, I'm not saying none of this is the right way or the wrong way. This is just the way I've gone about it. I know a lot of people like to use a computer and keep everything on a computer. I just think that if I like to handwrite my stuff, I just think I don't know, it's weird. It just feels to me like I'm able to express myself better handwriting it now I'm on a computer. Weird, I know, but whatever. So yeah, so what I basically do is I've got a sheet here, a trade journal sheet. Now I fill these out as I'm trading, as I'm taking a trade, and I'm filling in this information. So literally, it's pretty simple. You've got the date, the ticker, shares taken, and like so, I'll take 100 shares short. What setup is it? Is it lower high? Is it double top, double bottom? This, that, the other. The price I paid, my stop, and my target. Essentially, this will be you'll be able to work your risk to reward out from there. You stop and you target, and then my exits. I'll work on a free exit strategy. So I'll take essentially half my position off at exit one, and then a quarter. So that's the way my exit strategies worked. So my exits will be obviously putting there. My risk to reward is obviously worked out by my stop, my target, my risk to reward, total P&L, and then any notes on the trade. And the thing about doing this while you're trading, guys, is when you do it after, you sometimes cannot fully remember the thought process of the things you're going through. So I tend to do it as the trade's progressing, and I can make pretty detailed notes on each trade, and then I just file these, weekly, and then on a Saturday I'll go through and review them, and you'd be surprised how much this helps. I do also use TraderView. Since I went live, I use TraderView. That gives a more 10 times more detailed statistics, 100 times more detailed statistics than you could do for journaling by hand. So TraderView is brilliant. If you're trying to keep costs down a bit, there is, I think it's called Trader Insights, which is a similar sort of thing. It's not as good as TraderView, but it's free. So Trader Insights, I think it's traderinsights.com or something, you'd have to Google it. But that's free, and it's essentially the same as TraderView. It just don't give you as detailed statistics, but for free. I mean, who gives a fuck? Do you know what I mean? Simple as that, it's free. And if you just, if I know like this trading can get expensive by the time you add everything up a month. So if you're just starting out, Trader Insights, you can track all your trades. But I still find that even with TraderView, I still find journaling each thingy and writing down my exact thought process. That works well for me. Another thing which is kind of not really sort of like conventional, but I'll tell you what, guys, this helps me out so much, is a dictaphone. And that's one of these. If for you younger guys and girls out there that haven't got a fucking clue what a dictaphone is, it's basically it's called a digital voice recorder now, or whatever. But yeah, basically you just hit record, and you can record your thoughts onto voice, and then you can load these into the computer, and essentially you can. I haven't done this yet, but you probably can. I'm a bit shit on the computer, but you can pretty much load the audio file to the chart, so you've got your chart and your thoughts, and you can do all this in real time. So I'll tell you what, guys, literally this little dictaphone here has been an absolute godsend. I mean, they're 21 quid, and you can record like 400 hours or some stupid shit like that of and I'll tell you what, like literally I use it all the time. I do all my trades at the end of the day. After I've charted, I'll do an actual run through of the trade, what I was thinking at the time. I'll do my emotional journal with a dictaphone. And I'll just do random shit, I'll do, if I've gone through a bad had a bad day or whatever, the next day when I'm, fresh on the drive to work or that, I'll just record my thoughts and how I'm going to work them out and this, that, the other, and things I think I can improve on, So as I say, the dictaphone and the simple trade journal, like that's just literally just a simple Word document with that, and I just print them out and fill them in by hand as I go. And the dictaphone, guys, get yourself one of these. I say it's literally, and it's mad because you can listen back over all what you recorded, and sometimes listening to your own voice telling you, "Oh, you fucking idiot! What is you doing that for? You need to work on this, to improve." Listen to your own voice saying that back to you. It really sort of, it sinks into your brain. You think, "Oh, bloody hell." The other day from work, for instance, I've got 80, I think 80 in total trade recaps and that on my dictaphone, and I was on the way to work the other day and just literally just listened to them all over, and that's from when I very first started trading. And it's amazing, you can hear, you know, your thought process change even in that couple of months. My thought process from now, how I'm thinking about trading now compared to how I'm thinking about trading back then, is just crazy. And it's nice to be able to journal that. And as I say, the beautiful thing about that is you can get your thoughts down at the time and they can just flow. Sometimes I think it's really hard to, you know, when you're writing spreadsheets and you're writing, you know, and even writing by hand, it's really hard to express by hand actually how you're feeling. You know, it's a lot easier if you can just say it, I think. Well, that's how I find it anyway. You know, everyone's different, people might be different, but I think they're, as I say, for 20 quid, man, I think it's really helped my trading no end. I've no doubt about that, you know, just that little one digital voice recorder. So yeah, so that was it really. So that's like the journaling, as I say, and that's important, guys. You know, you can't do this without journaling properly. You've got to be aware of the things you're doing right, the things you're doing wrong. Plus, you know, you need to start essentially forming a strategy that works for you. So I mean, for me, I've noticed from the first couple of months trading, you know, obviously I'm a bit more of a short bias trader. That's not to say I'll never take things long, I do, but I'll veer towards more to the short bias. And my best results have been off the Savage scans. You know, I found that, especially with the way the market's been probably the last month, you know, it's been really sort of sideways and choppy and up and down and that, and it's been really difficult to trade. And I just think, you know, I was playing a lot of the plays off the scans, and they're so good, and the risk to reward so good on them and that. And I've really veered towards the Savage scans, the plays off the Savage scans, and that's a strategy I just focus on now on all the time. Literally, top and bottom reversals. As I say, the top reversals, that's my favourite play, you know, the top reversals, especially going into a whole dollar resistance and that, and you know, you can really smoke them, and the risk to rewards normally sort of it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You're normally risking like 5 to 10 cents, 20 cents is like maximum, you know, normally for a point or more. So I mean, it's crazy, and that really sort of I found out, like, obviously through reviewing and you know, and journaling, and I found, you know, that's a strategy that works for me. So that's what I'm focusing on. And I think that's another thing, guys, that's important, is you don't want to be all over the place with your strategy. You know, your journaling will tell you what you're good at, and what you need to work on. So you need to base your strategy on that, you know, and find a strategy that works with you, what suits your personality. You know, you don't want to be trying to do a million different things, because you know, you need to master one, get the basics of one strategy, what suits you, that down, and master that. You know, become good at that. You know, I'm really pretty decent at the moment at these top and bottom reversals. You know, I can see the way that, you know, once you start like properly developing your strategy, you know, you're going to see these things a lot more clearly. You know, and obviously screen time is so important, and I'm lucky enough I can get quite a bit of screen time in pretty much every day. But I do tend to prefer the afternoons. You know, the mornings can be a bit manic, but the afternoons tend to you know, all your levels are pretty much set then, and as I say, that's when the reversal scans come into their own. So I do actually prefer trading in the afternoons, which is as I say, everyone's different. Some people can smoke the mornings and be done by 11 o'clock. I find that my results are better off in the afternoon. You know, I can get a bit. It's easy to. I find it for me, or anyway, it's easy in the mornings to, you know, get a bit of FOMO. Everything's just ripping or dumping, and you're, I'm gonna miss it, and it's easy to jump in and get chopped up. Whereas, you know, the afternoons, especially with the reversals, you know what you're looking for. That all your levels are set, you know, and to me, that suits me personally. So that's the area I'm focusing on. Obviously, once I've mastered them, you know, then I can look at adding another strategy and another string to the bow, and literally just you know. But you want to master, I think you want to master one thing and get really good at that first before you move on to another one. You don't want to be sort of trying to develop four sort of different strategies, because you're just gonna end up getting confused. So yeah, so that's another thing. As I say, find your own strategy. The journaling's massively important, and just keeping track of your results. And then obviously, and then yeah, as I say, just paper trade. Just paper trade, and as I say, and track your results. The thing I will say with paper trading is, and this is another thing I think, an area I think a lot of people make mistakes, is you know, what I essentially did, I thought, right, what realistically is going to, when I go live, how much am I realistically going to fund my account with? And for me, the next logical step for once I could prove a level of consistency of paper trading was to get a TEFS funded account, intro account. You know, £14,000 worth of buying power, relatively cheap, $400 or whatever. You know, and that was the next logical step for me. Bearing in mind this, I've never traded live before or anything, so that was so when I started paper trading, my simulated buying power was 14,000. That's, you know, I set the buying power to the amount that I would be trading when I went live. You know, I see a lot of people start trading with 100, 200,000, taking fucking 50 or 100 shares and 200,000 shares in Netflix, and that shit is bollocks, guys. Like, what? Like, you need to make this realistically as possible, and the reason being is because, you know, you want to treat this demo like a live account. You know, I almost trick myself in my brain to think this is your live account. You know, I've never blown this account up. It is what was it, 14,778, whatever. That's you know, that's just from paper trading. I've paper traded this account exactly the same that I would a live account. I treated it exactly the same, guys, and that's so key. You know, you can't, you know, you don't want to pick up bad habits doing paper trading, because when you go live, they're going to be so hard to rectify. And we know, right, this is only paper money, blah, blah, blah. So you can take fucking, you know, I could have £1 million buying power here and be fucking, you know what I mean, shorting fucking 5,000 shares of fucking Amazon or some shit. But, you know, how realistic that, guys, it's not. You know, you're just going to fuck yourself up for when you go live. And you want this period here, you want, when you go live, I wanted the transition to be as smooth as possible, you know. I wanted to basically, I just wanted a smooth transition over from live, for paper to live. I didn't want no shocks and surprises, you know. I just wanted it to be pretty much exactly the same. So my sort of thinking was the 14,000. That's going to be how much I'm going to get buying power with a TEFS account. You know, I didn't want to run this down, so I literally tricked my mind into thinking that this was a live account, and I treated it as such. And from the start, you know, and I never took silly share sizes. I worked out a pretty sort of simple way of doing it. For instance, for stocks around a two, like Apple, your Netflix, and that, I'd take between 40 and 50 shares at a time. And then for your stocks like I don't know, say Twilio or something. Yeah, for your sort of 80 sort of like 30 to $100 stocks, I could take 100 shares of these. You know, so 100 shares between $30 and $100, I could take 100 shares. Then your bigger stocks like your Apple, your Netflix, that I could take anywhere between 30 and 50 shares, depending on the price. And you've got to remember, guys, that these stocks were a lot sort of like more when I started than they are now. You know, the market's they've lost quite a bit of value compared to when I first started trading. So that's the way I went about it. And then I love trading Amazon. So, but we all know that's a super expensive stock. So I mean, this was, when I first started, this was almost 2,000, but it's, you know, it's 1,500 now. It's pretty crazy, 1,600. So I let myself, I could take 4 or 5 shares in Amazon, depending. So that was my sort of share allocation, and I just treated this like my live account. You know, I'd wait for plays. I'd be really patient and just you know, you want to instill in yourself them good habits from the start. You know, you don't want to be running around taking 50 trades a day, because, you know, what good's that doing to you? You know, you don't want to be having a £1 million worth of buying power and all this. You want to treat it as it will be when you go live. So for instance, I love the TEFS funded accounts. I think they're brilliant, regardless of all this bullshit you're in at the moment on fucking Twitter from that arsehole and all that. Mate, they're brilliant. I literally cannot fault them. So whether you want to go, you know, you go with the intro account, you get 80,000, then start your paper trading balance at 80,000. If you're going to fund an internet brokers or Trade Zero account with 5 or 10,000, use that amount. You know, use the amount that you realistically, that's the amount that you're gonna, that you're gonna use when you go live. And I think that's really important. And then obviously I transitioned from live to paper after I paper traded for 2 months, and I was doing relatively well. My first month was just like red day, green day, red day, red day. But it progressively got better, and I think all these little steps, if you have some sort of structure to your learning and your trading and your review, I don't think you can go wrong really, guys. And another thing is, well, you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. You can't. In your journals, you've got to be brutally honest, and you've got to. You got to be very self-aware, and you've got to know this is what I'm doing wrong. This is the area I need to work on, and just be honest with yourself, and don't try and blame. It's the market. This, the SPY don't like. No, you've got to be. You've got to, because we're all going through the same phase, guys. We've all got different areas that you need to work on. Some people struggle with other things, other people struggle with other things, but you've got to know personally yourself what area you struggle with, and look at focusing on improving that area. That's what, when I go through my journals and my reviews and that on a Saturday or Sunday, I know for this week that could have been improved on. So I'll work specifically on that area for the next week, and or the next couple of weeks until that area improves. And that's, and it works wonders. It does, if you're aware of the things you're doing wrong, that's what you need to work on. Everyone knows, it's, when you make a good trade, fuck me, I smashed it, blah, 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 this, that, the other. But really, you learn a lot more from your bad trades than you do your good trades, and the areas you need to improve on. You're not really going to learn a great deal from your good trades as such. You will, but you learn more about, what areas you need to work on with your bad trades and your not so good days, and be brutally honest with yourself, and really sort of say, right, this is, I need to work on this and focus on that area. Don't need to, just even if you do one a week, that's my main focus for this week, over trading. That's in the last week, over trading cost me, a good portion of my profits. All right, so next week, you focus on not trading as less, and work on that area for a couple of weeks until you get your trading down. I'll take 2 or 3 trades a day. That being said, with the scanners, it's a little bit more probably now. If they're populating pretty well, I'll take 4 or 5 trades a day. But I'm pretty comfortable with that. It's not, if the scans are populating, good risk to reward setups, I'll take the trades. It's as simple as that until I'm proven otherwise. So, but it's all about just being brutally honest with yourself, and you'll see the results start improving, as I say. And then when you transition to live, as I say, I transitioned to Tef's intro account. I've got the 14,000 of buying power, and all I did, the only difference I did, because I'd never traded with obviously with the TC2000, you don't get your level 2 or nothing. You just click buy, and the box will come up, and you can hit the bid or the ask, or you can buy 100 shares. It's literally that easy, and you just buy. It's that easy. Obviously with the TEFs, it's proper level 2. You probably got your order and entry box and all that. So all I did is I took a week off of proper trading, and I just, when I moved to my TEFs account, I traded the demo. You get a free demo intro for the first 2 weeks, and I just traded that, and I got used to the order entry. Pat's got a load of great videos out there on the order, not just necessarily the TEFs. Well, he has got some brilliant videos on how to set your TEFs up and that, and on YouTube. But he's also got some great videos on order entry, reading the level 2 and that, and everything like that. So I just spent a week pissing about with that, and that was it. And I was ready to go. I was ready to go live. And essentially, the transition was painless, because I'm still trading off the TC2000 charts with just my level 2, my time and sales, and my account manager box up there, and my order entry. And that's literally it. Nothing's changed, guys. I've transitioned from paper to live seamlessly, because I know that I'm taking 50 shares of Apple. I know that I'm taking, 100 shares of WBA. I know what I'll be risking. I know, because it's exactly the same as what I've been doing with paper. excuse me, guys. I feel like cold coming. Yeah, so it's exactly the same as what I've been doing with paper. You know, there's no big shock for me here. I know that, you know, if I, you know, like, if I buy that lower high for, you know, I'm risking 10 cents or whatever. You know, I know what my risk. It's exactly the same. There's no surprise. There's going to be no surprises for me, guys. It's just going to be a seamless transition, and that's it. You know, as I say, I think it's crazy when people start out with massive buying power and they're taking, you know, like, oh, fucking, like, I don't know, fucking 200, 300, 400 shares in Netflix and that, and then, you know, making all stupid money or losing stupid, because it's not realistic. You're not being realistic to yourself, and you want to make this as realistic as possible. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Just a little video, as I say. I'm not necessarily saying this is the right way or the wrong way to go about it, but you know, this is what I've done, and my results of in a short period of time are pretty consistent. You know, I'm not, you know, don't get me wrong. I've still got flaws. I've still got things to work on, and I'm working every day on them. You know, I'm aware of what I need to work on. You know, I've got Pat and Kelvo, you know, as my mentors. The guys are just fucking amazing. Eric in the room now, bringing a whole new dimension to everything. So you've got all the, you know, the moderators, Moses, Ant-Man, Tex, and all that, Billy as well, and just them guys. You know, the amount of information now and the quality of content that's coming out of Twitch Trades is amazing, mate. Just take advantage of it, guys. As I was saying, if anyone isn't, I hope this has helped a little bit. It just gives you like a little bit of like, this is the structure that I've used. As I say, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying whatever, but as I say, in the space of coming up 4 months now, you know, I've gone from never placing a trade to relatively consistent. You know, as I say, I've still got my flaws, I've still got things I need to work on, but I mean, I think that's pretty good. And I think just structuring it, or having some form of structure, you know, and really utilising the education. And as I say, if you can enjoy mentoring, it's amazing. But if not, there's still a wealth of content. As I say, the charts on the as I say, for a lot of people, if you're new and you're struggling with the setups, you know, these are just worth their weight in gold, man. I mean, look, you know, these really help me out from identifying the plays, you know, and you know, and struggling, because I know how hard it is, guys, when you first see these and you're not sure, is that a double top or is that forming a high low? You know, it's really, but literally after a few months, I'm like, you know, I've burnt these images in my mind, and I'm really relatively half decent at seeing the patterns as they emerge now, you know. And as I say, and I think a lot of that's down to screen time now, guys. I'm relatively lucky. In 4 months, I've pretty much traded every single day for 8 hours. So that's quite a fair bit of screen time in a relatively short time. But it's, you know, I know some of you can only get, you know, a couple of hours in a day. So make the most of this, you know. Make the most of when you're not, you know, just use the education and review these things, you know, and burn these images into your head, and you know, and just really utilise the education. I say, start off slow, man. I've realised, you know, this is a process. I've set myself a 3-year plan for this. I'm not in no rush. You know, I know from the outset that this was never going to be easy. So I've set myself a 3-year plan. As I say, it seems to be going relative. Obviously, there's going to be massive hiccups on the way. I'm never just, but it seems to be going relatively well. You know, I think I'm probably a bit ahead of my plan now, and that's all thanks to the information and the education that's available at Trick Trades, and the mentoring. I don't think I'd have been anywhere near where I am now if it weren't for the mentoring. I really don't. But I'll leave it at that, guys. Any questions, as I say, just hit me up, SuperCooper1081 on Twitter, or just see me in chat, whatever. Yeah. But I hope you found this helpful. I'll say any questions or anything, and just, yeah, as I say, that's the way I've done it. I say I'm nowhere near a finished article of a trader, but my results are pretty consistent, considering I've only been trading 3 coming up 4 months. And as I say, I think these things help. As I say, and if you ain't got one, get a bloody dictaphone, man. These things are amazing. Literally, you thank me later. Trust me, them things are bloody amazing. Just for getting your thoughts down on Pacific. You can even record quick live trades with them. You know, I tend to do that quite a lot. My thought process of why I got in the trade, what I thought it was doing, this, that, the other. I tell you, guys, they're amazing. Get one. You'll thank me for it. I'll guarantee you. But, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Say, I hope you all have a good day, evening, whatever you're doing. Good stuff. We'll call that a wrap.